So welcome to this next video, stage 13. Are we on video? Yeah, video 13. And what we're going to do is we are going to paint we're going to paint the whole bus, and this time I'm using the Occre white paint. Now I've been doing a lot of YouTubing, a lot of looking up basically anything to do with Occre, and I've not been loving this paint because the coverage hasn't been very good, which is normal for Occre paint, for white paint. But the research has led me to people putting it on straight from the pot. Now I've decided I'm going to do that because most of it is external. So what I'm figuring is, see, because I've been doing models for so long and figures, what I've kind of been brought up with is, if you apply your paint straight from the pot, you get brush marks. But worst case scenario, we could fix that with a very light sanding. So I'm going to take the chance. I'm going to apply it on straight from the pot. I am going to brush it on fairly thinly, and we'll see how we get on. Okay, so while that is drying, I've just been looking through the instructions, and I've decided there's another bit I can make a start on, which will just divert my focus a little bit, and that is stages 71 through to 76. This is going to form the engine and the driver's area, which will actually be made separately, and then we attach that onto the at a later stage. So I think it's something that obviously with me just painting it, I won't use the word boring. I don't mean the word boring, but it's because you're focusing on one thing, much in the same way that if you're at a computer all day, you need to just take your eyes off the screen every half an hour or so, and I think that this will be really good just to focus on something else. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the following pieces off with regards to each stage. So we have stage 71, we want pieces 103, which is 2 of. 72 is pieces 104 through to 107. Stage 73 will require pieces 108 and 109. Stage 74 will require 110 through to 112. 75 will require 113 and 114, and 76 will require 115 and 2 116s, and we will build this all the way up to stage 76, but 76 requires painting, which we will just leave the painting off. Okay, so in the time it's taken me to cut all those pieces out and clean them up, the paint on the bus is dry, so I'm going to give that a second coat. Now I have thinned the paint down just ever so slightly, and the reason for that is we have got on the majority a covering coat, but I found that the brush was pulling an awful lot. It really didn't like being not thin, so what I've done this time, I've just ever so slightly thinned the paint. I know I'll get less coverage, but we did manage to get most of the coverage from the first coat. Okay guys, you are going to love this next stage. So these are going to be the sides. Now it doesn't matter which way round they are, but they need to be placed opposite, so either have them pointing together or pointing apart. It makes no difference. And what we are going to do, you'll see that there are lots and lots of little holes in there, and what we want to do is we have these small nails, and we want to pop one nail through each of those holes, and that is going to make kind of a bolt. Now that will leave a sticky out bit, which we're going to have to cut off at a later date, but that will be fine. Now what I've done to aid me, you can use a cocktail stick for applying the glue. I've had for ages, let me show you the actual nozzle. So I bought these glue nozzles ages ago. These are way too long, but I find you can cut them to length. And all they do is they just push on the end. And I've got the rocket glue that I bought with the bus, and as you can see I've just put a nozzle on the end, and I don't know if you're going to be able to see this, and this will be the advantage of having the nozzle. So if you want to apply, let me see that shiny bit there. So if you want to apply just a tiny drop of glue, there we go. I don't know if you can see that there. See how small that glue dot is? So it's really precise. So I'm going to do one of each for two reasons. One is that I don't want to show you the whole lot on camera, but also by doing one of each, it then marks it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull that in. Let me bring the camera in. Right, so I'm just going to pull the nail in until it's almost there, and then I'm just going to apply. I'm going to have to take my glasses off for this because this is quite close work. I'm then going to apply one tiny, in fact, get my tile ready, and that way, this is fairly thick glue. It's thick glue, so it's worth you kind of loading the nozzle up. And then what I want to do is apply a tiny drop and then pull that nail right through. Okay, there's actually too much there, if anything. If you want to use a pair of pliers, this is actually cutters, but if you want to apply a pair of pliers as well and pull it down from underneath, that will do the job. Now do be careful here, guys, because as you can see, we are now, let me put my glasses back on. So we are now dealing with what is in effect a cudgel, a piece of wood with a sharp nail, but give that a couple of seconds and we push that up and I can see that's fine. Now if you want, you can apply another drop on the back, and what might even be a good idea, let me try this. Remember, this is a lot of what I'm doing with this model. Let's try applying a piece of glue from the back actually onto the piece. I don't know how much time we have, you see. Sorry, that was actually on the front. Oh, I can't get the nail in. I've lost my eyesight. Yeah, so that hasn't worked quite so well. So I think what I'm going to do, apply one drop, and then as we pull that in, see, the only issue I've got is a little bit shaky at the back, so you might want to apply a drop of glue at the back as well. I think that's working better. Okay, so that's two in, and then what I'm going to do is I'm then going to put two into this one in exactly the same way. Let me put it down that way. Let me just do a dry run with one, because yeah, that will be perfect. So the reason I want to put two in, well, one or two, is by the time I've worked on this, if I forget which way round these are, then proceed to put loads of nails in, and then go, oh my god, they're now the wrong way round, there's no way, I can't see how I'm going to get these out. This one doesn't want to stick. But I'm liking the idea of pliers better, because I don't really like the idea of sticking. That isn't going to stick. Why is that not sticking? Yeah, I do like the idea of pliers because I don't like nails sticking to my fingers, you see. No, that's not sticking. Why is that? Super glue, nails and wood. Who would have thought, sorry, wood and metal. Who would have thought that it wouldn't stick? Super glue is fantastic for sticking. That's done it. Right. So now, if this gets knocked over, when I finish doing this one, because this is going to end up, as you see, it's going to take quite a while to do all of those. And then I want to be picking this one up. Now if I stick all the nails in that way and I go, oh no, I've done it the wrong way round, it's going to be too late then. So what we're going to end up with is we're going to end up with this framework, which is going to be that way round, and all the studs are going to be on the outside. So guys, I am going to do that off camera. I don't think you need to see me do that multiple times, but just in case, let's do one more. So pop the nail halfway in. I know I've got some pliers somewhere. There we go. So pop it about halfway in, apply some glue to the nail, and then from the other side pull that nail and give it a pull and leave it for about 5-10 seconds, and that's stuck. No, it hasn't. Okay, and then I think we might actually want to apply a little bit of glue there as well, and then give it a gentle, just very gentle. Yep, that's working fine. No, it's not. Yep, that's in fine. Right, so I've got two in this one, so that's what it looks like. And then when I go like that, you will see that there will be one in every single one. If you haven't got the thick glue, by the way guys, use the thin Poundland glue. I think that'll be absolutely fine. In fact, I'm going to do a couple. Oh, that's supposed to be, there we are, right. Because if anything, that might work better because it's thin, you see. So I'll get a different nozzle so I'm not contaminating the rocket glue one. Let me cut the end off there. Right, these are good just as applicators. Right, so nail about halfway in, a little bit of Poundland super glue, or cheap super glue. I actually don't think these come from Poundland. I think these come from Amazon. I think they were advertised as single-use super glue. Okay, count to about 5, and that's not in either. So I think you might have to apply the glue from both sides. There you go, that's perfect. So yeah, apply the glue from both sides. Let's do one more because I think I've cracked it. Actually, let's try a different idea. Let's get some reverse tweezers. Let's see if I can be really clever. I thought I had some reverse tweezers. It looks like I don't. If this works, this could be idea of the century. Right, so let's get nail in. Okay, we'll drop that in about halfway, and then get some super glue, drop that in, apply the pliers on the other side, which will help pull it downwards. And the other thing as well, guys, oh, that's gone in absolutely perfect. So you don't need to worry about this side being clean, because these are all going to get cut back, and then they're going to be filed down, so don't worry, they won't be dangerous by the time we're finished. Right guys, so I'm going to do the rest of it off camera and I'll show you the results. So I want that super glue to really set, because the next stage we're going to be cutting those pins and we're going to be putting them under a bit of pressure. So I've checked my painting. It took me a long time to do the pins, so this paint's had plenty of time to dry, and I'm not 100% happy with it. The coverage is almost there. It probably wants another coat or two. So what I've done is I'm going to give it another coat, but this time I have thinned the paint a little bit. I think it's a little tiny bit lumpy. By thinning it, it should kind of self-level. Okay, so while we wait for that paint to dry, we do the next bit on the side, and we have got all these lovely little marks on. Now, some of these I found have fallen out. So if they do that, you just need to re-glue them in. So I'm anticipating that this particular stage, the force of us cutting the ends off may actually force some of them out, which we'll deal with it when we have to. So I am using some cutters. They are designed to cut metal. Do not use your favourite side cutters, because this will damage it. Now this is quite a good set, so it's going to take them down quite far down, but what we're going to do is we're going to trim them off one by one, and once they're all trimmed down, we will grind them with a sander. Now I'm going to use an electric sander because I'm lazy. Yeah, so I'm going to use an electric sander to grind them down, but there you go, I've just had one fall out. So yeah, I'll just deal with the cutting for now, because obviously I don't want to start grinding them down until we've got them all cut. Okay, so as expected, I did lose some of them. Now, coincidentally, this particular one, I didn't lose a single one. Now, I think this might have been the second one where I kind of had a bit of a rhythm. I discovered that if you actually get the nozzle right close to the hole, you can actually push the glue into the hole. So I wonder if this might be the one where I'd figured that one out. But never mind. So with this one, I've noticed from my little offcuts, I've got some of them, as you can see from that, they've actually they've fallen out after I've cut them, and then some like this, they've fallen out before I've cut them. And I think I have more holes than I have little offcuts, so we'll just do our best to repair it. So I'm getting that nozzle right in, and I'm actually pushing the glue into the hole. then I'm taking it away and then I'm dabbing it on the top. And let's see if I can make use of these. I think they're going to be too small to deal with. Yeah, I'm gonna do fresh pins for all of them, I think. And then it's a good idea to let them set really hard, pulling it if you can, and if you can also just push it up against the side of the hole, that helps as well. So I'm going to get on with that. I've got 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 to go, so that's not too bad. Okay, so we have got all of those trimmed down. Because this one's all fine, I'll work on this one, but the other one is still drying. So we have our pin heads, our nail heads, but it's still a little bit rough on the other side, so we need to get some way of sanding that down. Because I'm lazy, I'm going to use my rotary sander, and all we do is we just run that gently across there until it's level. It doesn't take much, and just give it a little rub with your finger. If you can feel the nail, then it's not done enough. And it's just a little rub across there like that. The better your cutters are, the more flush it will be, and obviously the less work you'll have. You'll probably get through a couple of these doing it, and it feels like one of these is falling out, but we'll see. We'll just keep repeating until So stages 72 and 73, we're going to be putting some side supports in. Now, I think we need to work fairly quick. We're not in a rush, but what's going to happen, you have this support there, 105 goes in there, and then 106 goes in there, and that obviously goes to the next side, and then we have 107 goes on the end. Now that should theoretically make it square, but the way that we're going to put them in, it's if it's not square on that side, it's going to affect the other. So we need to work quite quickly before the glue, but at the same time we need to give it enough time to set before we move on to the next one. Then once we've done that, we will go on to piece 108, which is going to go in at the back there like so. Is it this way? It's not that way, it's this way. So there is a right and a wrong, and then piece 109 will go there, but piece 109 is a little bit higher up than 108. So all of this needs to fit together, and we need to clamp it as well, which is going to cause me problems because my clamps are all odd shapes, but we'll see how we go. Okay, that was actually a lot easier than I thought it would be. So we've got those top platforms in. I was worried it wasn't going to stay square until we got these bit in. They definitely did add support, but so we've got 3 little bits to put in. So we've got these side supports and we've got this back plate. Now if we put the side supports in first, it's going to make this back plate difficult to put in. but if we then put the back plate on, it then becomes a little bit difficult to put the side supports on. But I think that it will actually be easier if we put this back plate on first, because then what we can do is we can wiggle these side supports in place. So let's put a little bit of glue there as well, just along the bottom there, just so that it can stick to that piece of wood there. Whether it will, I don't know. So that goes into there like so, and then we have 111 goes on this side. So and obviously we have to worry about squeeze out a little bit because we don't want that showing. So if we put it in at an angle into the, and then it can kind of slip onto there, and that's actually gone in rather easy. I'm happy enough with that, but just want to put a little bit more glue in there. I never thought about that. There we go. And then just get our cotton bud and just wipe away any squeeze out. Easy peasy. And then the same on the other side. Obviously make sure the orientation is correct, and now that we've stuck one in, we know how this one's going to go. So there and there and there. And this glue, I will say, is magnificent. This is the Speed Bond. It smells very wood gluey, but it's a little bit quicker than wood glue, ordinary wood glue. So I mean, obviously it's going to be some kind of wood gluey PVA. Right, there we go. So there is that in place. Now that's going to act as support for the next stage, which is 75, and we're going to need pieces 113 and 114. And what's going to happen is this piece will go in there, and this piece will go in there, and it will act as a kind of support. I don't think we need to worry too much about it being a precise fit, because at the end of the stage, the next stage, we'll be doing some planking on it. Whether I do that before I finish the coach works of the bus, I do not know. So 113 in place there. Give it a wipe. And that's not going to quite go on the backboard, so don't bother trying to make it. I think as long as this is in nice and sturdy, so that when we come to do the planking, that it just gives it a stable platform. And I have just reached the end of my glue. I'm going to have to put some more on the plastic anyway. So that can go into there. Now I don't know if it's supposed to make absolute contact, but there's a small gap there. I'm not worried about that too much. So a bit of cleanup. We'll probably be filling that at some point. Okay, so the next step, we want to turn it around, and we have this piece 115, which is going there by looks of it, and then these 216s are coming in there. So that's going to be a tricky fit. So let's dry fit this back piece here. Oh, that goes in quite easy, you've just got to put it in correctly. And then this one can dry fit. Oh, that's a bit of a squeeze, but to be fair, once it's in, it goes in, and it's pretty much, you're very tempted to say don't need glue, but yeah, I'm going to glue that in. So this one is actually touching this backboard, so what I'll do is I'll apply the glue to the actual backboard, and then these obviously just the points of contact. So nice thin layer. What I call a thin layer is that where it's white from where the glue is, but there's not going to be any squeeze out. What I'd call a very thin layer is where there'll be no colour at all. Right. This is quite useful because you can actually arrange these, because these are symmetrical, so you can actually arrange them so that your numbers are not actually going to be visible, which is I know some people who do wooden models, they really like to sand all of that burn mark, because these have been put in have been cut by laser. You get these black marks along the edges. I'm not particularly fussed. Sorry, I'd completely changed the subject there by accident. So sometimes people like to remove the numbers. It's very handy to write the numbers on the piece so that you can identify it later. And like some people like to remove it. Now you can remove that letter, the number that you've written on, either with a pencil eraser, or you can just sand it out. Some people believe that if you leave it on, when you come to paint it, that it will show through. This one, actually, I got that statement wrong. That's gone in an absolute dream. Okay, so you can now start to see this is going to become the driver's platform. Why am I worried? That's fine. So that hole needs to be that way round. On the instructions, it actually points it out. So when you're putting this in the first place, it does make sure that hole is that way. So the driver is going to sit there. This is where the engine's going to be. So his steering wheel will be there. Now if I can bring this through, so this is going to sit on something like, there we go. So these lovely holes on the bottom, is that dry enough to fiddle with? Yeah. Oh, this is nice. Ah ha ha! I'm happy. So if you remember, I said about this bit there, I wasn't sure whether to fill it. It's actually the locating bit for this tab there. So we can place that tab on there, so I can see there's going to be work required. And this is not an easy fit, so there will be some more sanding to do. I'm just not 100% sure where, but those are not fitting in. So whether I need to make those holes larger or these tabs smaller. Oh no, that's gone in. That's gone in, and once that one goes in, the next one will go in. It's just getting the initial spacing. Do you know what? I think it might be because these aren't set right. So let's continue to fiddle with it. This is what if I was doing a part work, this is what I would call speculation, but I know exactly what we're doing because it's all written in the instructions. So that is a really tight fit. The only worry I would have there is if, oh there we go, it's gone in. It's gone in. So there we go guys, there's a little mock-up. Obviously it's not painted yet, but now you can start to see the driver's going to sit there. There's where the engine's going to be. That beautiful framework with one of the nails that has fallen, 2 nails fallen out. So I'll just have to keep redoing those nails until they stay in. I think the problem is there. Yeah, it's this front piece here. It's actually that tab there. So that wants to be cut out, which I'm not going to do now because we aren't actually working on that. But there you go guys, that is looking really sweet. Really happy with that. Right guys, so what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to leave it there. I did plan on doing the brown this week, but then I spotted the opportunity to do this, and that's consumed quite a lot of time. So I think what we will do is maybe if we continue a little bit more work on this next week and we can finish this off, and then we can make that focus being finishing this. It also give me a bit more time. Well actually we've only got 1 more week left until I close down for Christmas. I've got a bit of research to do. This is a bit of a spoiler for you. There's a roof going in, obviously. Now where is that roof? The roof. So when we get to the roof, there it is. So we have to put these supports in, but these supports will bend the roof. Now I watched a YouTube video of someone who's built this, and what happened was when they glued the roof on, you can see there's a slight curve. There's not much of a curve, but just a little bit. But what happened was it kind of, where it's trying to straighten, it's pulled on the sides and it's broken it down there, and it's bent all the windows. Now I've got a theory guys, and I won't have done the roof by the time you watch this video. I have a theory that what I can do is, that isn't quite staying in, but that will do once it's glued in. So the theory is that we can actually soak the wood in water, warm water, and then we can clamp it to something that's slightly curved, and then as it dries it will take on that curved shape and it won't want to return. And I think that's probably the way to go. Right guys, so there is my bus for this week. I've got a couple of repairs to do there with the nails. I might actually zap that with a different super glue. I'll try this VMS Flexi 5K. So yeah, there's only the 2 to do. That's not going to be a problem to do at the moment, because if we can get this out, please don't say it's stuck. There we go. It's making sure you pull them out of the right place. Come on. Come on. I don't want to regret doing this. There we go. Right, so we still have good access to behind here, so this is the time to repair. But there's none missing on this side, and there's just the 1 missing, 2 missing. By the time you come back there could be 15 missing, who knows. Right guys, so as always, thank you very much for watching, and I will catch you in the next issue. Take care guys, bye bye.